Hello YouTubers. Well, my last video was how to replace a screen on a Surface Pro 3. This is the tablet up and running now. I've been using it for a while. Great bit of equipment. It was bought cheap on eBay because the screen was broken, which I replaced. Cheap way of getting a tablet basically for a fraction of the price. I have dyslexia, so you know, for me electronics is major important to me. I've been in the trade for 20-30 years now. Never let me not having a reading disorder stop me achieving what I want to achieve, and it just proves if you're determined you can achieve anything in life. My goals really were electronics and music. I was also a DJ for many years, now self-employed, repairing stuff like this basically. However, I decided to purchase this piece of equipment, which is the Surface Pro docking station. Being a DJ, again, it's quite an expensive bit of equipment. I wanted more power to the tablet, so I wanted the option of having USBs more than just one that's on the tablet. This opens it up to you've got basically 5 extra USB ports, plus you got your network in. You've also got headphones in, so it's got a sound card feed from it, which I take it bypasses through to the tablet and bypasses it out to here. Also you have video output as well. It does require power, but when I purchased this, the first one that came to me, I had issues where it wouldn't, I'd connect the tablet to it and it wouldn't, Windows just wouldn't let it work. It was saying unknown USB device, Windows has stopped this device due to a problem. Could be a driver, hardware issue. So I sent it back and ordered another one with well, to be fair, it had it, you know, I connected the tablet, exactly the same problem. So I thought to myself, well, it can't be the docking station that was the issue. And for any of you guys that have got one of these, to turn your Surface Pro 3 into a desktop PC, really, this is what I found was an issue. I'm now going to step you through what I did to get this to work, and I'm sure it can happen to anyone that has one of these tablets. I did everything. I cleaned these connectors here, but to cut a long story short, it was nothing to do with this. This is 100% working, and I assume my first one I purchased would have also been 100% working, but I had no other, I only had the one tablet to do the test. I had no other way of putting another tablet in to see where the issue was. But as it turned out, there was no issue with this. This was okay. So this is what I found, and this is how I repaired it. Obviously make sure that before you do any work to the device that it's powered off. So what the issue actually was, and like I say, I'm making this video to make other people aware, if you do get a device manager, so when you go into Windows, I'll show you whereabouts you would see a problem. You know, basically nothing was working on the docking station. no connectivity at all. So what I did is I went into Device Manager. Let's just minimize that for a second. I went into Device Manager and I went down to the USB section of Device Manager. This basically is where everything shows up that's in your PC, so all the hardware we listed here. If there's any problems against anything, this is where it will show up. So what I've done, I went into the US, obviously not going to show the error now because I've repaired the issue, but I really wish I'd done the video with the issue in place, but I didn't. But basically, you have your Intel USB 3 controller, USB device. There's 3 devices. You've got the USB hub devices. Now I tried installing drivers, thinking that maybe there was a driver issue. Still didn't fix the issue. As soon as I connected it to the dock, it came up saying Windows has stopped this device due to a problem, which could be hardware related or software related. So hence why the first one went back, and I reordered another one from another supplier that basically had many of them. So he was selling multiple devices, docking stations for this device, and yeah, got it, exactly the same problem. So what it turned out to be, and obviously this is something that you really should do with the device off and do at your own risk. You know, this is just, at the end of the day, I wasn't going to let it beat me. So what I did to fix the problem is I obviously switch off the device. And of course, when you connect this to the docking station, it uses the charging port that you would normally connect your power supply to when you're using this standalone. It charges the device, but also there's a data feed in here as well. It doesn't just charge your device. If you connect this to external devices like USB docking stations, this is what it uses. All the data goes through this port. And what I was experiencing was, like you say, I wasn't getting any connectivity to the device at all. Now, like I say, this is done at your own risk. I mean, the easiest way to fix the problem, as long as you know your docking station is good, is to replace the port. And this is where my problem was, here. So what I've done, I've got a file here which is the same thickness as what the charging connectivity to the docking station and my charger. The diameter of this is almost exactly the same. And I found that there was pins in here that weren't connecting correctly to that. And all I'd done was I gently, and I mean very delicately, this is something that you've got to have time, patience, don't rush this, otherwise you'll do damage. And all I'd done was I basically cleaned all the pins with a file. This is a really, look on camera, I don't know if it looks small or not, but it's an extremely fine file. It's not aggressive, and it perfectly fits into all of these ports. It will go into here, no issues. You can feel it as you push down gently, it pushes the pins back. And of course, doing this, you know, I did this probably for 5 minutes, backwards and forwards, very gently. So that's, you get the idea of what I done. And basically it's a file, so basically all the copper surfaces inside the connector, I was cleaning them, obviously, any dirt that had got in there. You know, this wasn't a looked after tablet, it was quite badly beaten up when I got it. I've done a few bits and bobs to it. But what I actually done, as I say, I cleaned all these pins out with this file. I mean, I wouldn't use a knife. I wouldn't use anything else. You know, ideally, if you're not confident to do this, then I would just replace the connector. But the problem is with that, you've got to take the screen off to do that. And of course, it's glued to the unit. So the chances are you're going to break the screen trying to get it off. Again, if you want to attempt it, just be extremely delicate. When you remove it, you'll need to use heat around the edges. Not overheat it, because if you do, you'll damage the screen. But just heat it up enough all around the edges to loosen the glue so you can get a pick behind it and prise up the screen, which then will allow you, I haven't actually glued this down yet because I wanted to make sure everything was good. But once you do, if you manage to successfully get it open like this, the connector for your charging port is here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's here. And it's pretty straightforward. There's one screw, two screws that hold the connector. You can then remove that connector and buy a replacement, which you can buy on eBay for a few pounds, really. It's not an expensive part. I looked up the prices and I think they were about £6. I could have purchased a whole new connector. But, like I say, I did some research and it's not for everyone. I'm one of these guys that, you know, if I can save money and, you know, I will. So I found a file that would just fit in there. It's like I say, this is about the same thickness as the connector itself. You don't want to go in there with anything any bigger because you'll damage the pin layout. So there's pins on both sides of the connector. You'll find if you try and do it with a knife, or, you know, you'll probably damage the pins, which means then you will have to replace the connector, which then will mean opening the tablet up. So all I done was I basically popped this file and moved it gently backwards and forwards. Don't go from left to right because you'll bend the pins. It's just go in, out, in, out, in, out until you, and work your way up the connector until you get to the end. Then go back the other way. Just do that 5 or 6 times. I suppose you could use a piece of, you know, sandpaper, or in some cases just blowing it out with some compressed air could resolve the issue. But there's a lot of data that goes through here. This controls charging. Now, a funny thing was the charging side was fine. When it was on the docking station, it charged no problem. So first thing, I didn't think it was anything to do with the connector, but there's got to be about 20 pins each side. So obviously each one of them pins are doing different jobs. You've probably got 2 or 3 of them that are doing charging, and the rest handle data, because it doesn't only push USB, it pushes USB 1, USB 3, you've got your network, and you've also got your video. So it's a data port basically. So that's how I repaired it. I basically cleaned the inside of that connector. I mean, another way you could attempt to do this is use some sort of electrical spray, but again, it's liquid based. I know it will evaporate, but I didn't feel comfortable putting any liquid around it really. So all I'd done was, like I say, a small file. I suppose you could use things like, if you don't have a file that's the right thickness, if it's too thick, you'll damage the pins. You need to, you can feel it when you go in. You can actually feel it scrape both sides of the pins. I must have had some bad connection there somewhere. Maybe the copper had, you know, oxidized or something, so you know, them pins weren't making connection to the docking station. Yeah, so that's what I done. You know, you've seen the screen repair. I've now, you know, repaired that as well. So just to show you it is all working, we'll now connect it back onto the station, and I'll show you that everything's good. I currently have a mouse and a keyboard. I've got a memory stick plugged in to the device, so there's about 4 USB ports already used. So the best way, I mean, you can switch the tablet on first and then connect it. So let's just switch it on. Wait for it to load. It will ask me for a pin, so let's put the pin in. So yeah, so at the moment, obviously, if I go in here now, device manager, wait for it to load. The USB section is under Universal Serial Bus Controller. So as soon as I went like this, because obviously you seat the unit in and then you push the sides in. As soon as I done that, I got an error come up stating that there was a problem. But as you can see now, there's no errors there when device manager decides to pick everything, and everything is working. Obviously, keyboard is good. I've got a mouse, so mouse is working. For me, it was about USBs, because the plan is for this tablet is to use it as a for playing on. I play on a radio station. I'm a DJ as well, as I like to play with electronics. I also DJ as well, but more as a hobby now. So I play on this radio station. I want something small and compact that I could build my new console around, that I'm planning to build, which I'll be doing videos on. So yeah, so everything is. Why am I using my finger? I know it's touchscreen, but I just can't get on with touchscreen. It's nice to have it, but excuse me. Right, okay, so yeah, so there's my SD. I've got a memory stick, 4 gig memory stick in the back, which is there. So it's reading that. So yeah, that's if you do come across this problem, and it's only with the actual Surface docking station. I believe there's 2 docks. You've got the Surface docking station, and you've got the Surface dock, which I believe is USB anyway, so it uses the USB on the device. It's different type. It's actually more popular than this one. This one has been around for a while, but this one is just a solution that holds the tablet great, and opens you up to 6 USB ports, which is really what I needed. It doesn't even block the original USB port, so you can still have access to that as well. Plus there's 5 on the back. Well, there's 4 on the back, 1 on the side. Currently my phone's connected to the other one. It's charging my device. It's at 100%. I've pulled the cable out. So it sees the computer. yeah, so if you do experience this problem where you get a USB failure on the device, and I mean, if you do, you'll get no USB port, you'll get no connectivity to this device at all. You go into Device Manager, go under the USB section of Device Manager, and if you see an error there stating that unknown device, you go into the unknown device and have a look at the info tabs inside. I'll show you how to do that quickly. As I've got a mouse, it'd be easier. I use the mouse. So, Device Manager. The error you will see if this device has failed will be in here. So, you basically, I mean, it's not going to show the error because I've repaired the problem, but in here you go into settings on the device that's failed, go into the driver details. Now for me, the error was showing here. It basically stated that Windows has stopped this device due to a malfunction, and yeah, it turned out to be there was some issue with the port. And since I've cleaned it with the file, you could use things like, I don't know, them things that beauties use for their nails to file their nails down. They're quite thin. That would work as well. But yeah, it's just to put it out there. If you buy one of these and your port is got a problem, you will get an error in Windows, and it's not driver related, because if it was driver related, Windows Update would find this device and install the driver. The driver was already installed and it still failed. So yeah, I learned the hard way. You know, it's I didn't suspect the port, but that was what the problem was. Hope this helps. If you like this video or it does fix your problem, please comment below. To the next video, we'll see you again, and look after yourselves, and I look forward to making another video. Thank you.